So, part two, my dog ran to the neighbor's house, but we're back. But part two on more of the role, we're going to talk more about the advocacy and roles. So, social workers' jobs are more like advocacy. Social workers are to fight for the rights of people, to knowledge, give people the resources they need, more like CPS workers, all the way to working on the government board, fighting for the rights of people. And that's what basically social workers do, and those are those roles, and those roles include advocacy. Advocacy is the main component of it. Social workers are to fight for people's rights. The more HDF side is the more of helping with human family developmental, the mental. Social workers do fight for those mental, but social workers also just help specific cases or help cases as a whole. And they're more like on the government side. That's why we do more research than the human HDFS major does. And social work is focused on helping people in the support system with challenging situations, because we are challenging situations, period. This is the physical, cognitive, and developmental challenges. So we're going to be focusing on majority on the people who are fighting for the rights of people, and like helping with people with accommodations, getting people on like helping with their cases with the government, and people who are like helping with people with disabilities, giving them the resources, cooking them up with groups. This is what the roles are in to our chapter. And and also social workers help like normalize disability, so people aren't viewed as the stigmas that we said earlier, and that people are viewed more equally, and not as, oh, like you're just somebody with a disability, oh, they can't even do anything, they have a disability. They help. Not only do they help the community look at people with disabilities different, they help people with disabilities look at themselves different. Like, you are still powerful, you still have the self-motivation to fight for yourself. They are feeding people knowledge to soon, hopefully one day, advocate for themselves. Like, hey, I do have this disability, but I know what I can do. So that's what social work is for. They're more to help people. Okay, let's go to the next one. So yeah, social workers have to attend training to approach crisis in very different ways. And like I said, they support the clients. It depending on the case, what best works with the client, that's what they do. Because when you're a social worker, you listen more than you talk. And in order to have a successful career, you have to understand the stigmas to different the society of how they look at people, and you have to understand like how to intervene, how to talk to people, how to advocate, how to counsel people. Even though we're more the research side, sometimes if somebody sits in your chair and they say, I'm going through that, and I break down, because we are working with people. We are not robots. You have to learn how to counsel these people, how to motivate them. You have to learn how to talk to people and understand, like, you have to put yourself in their shoes and understand stuff from their side of the perspective, side of the board. Because yeah, we all do come from different cultures. Like, we all, like was mentioned in the previous lecture, we come from different cultures, and you'll never really understand what one is going through until you're them. And there's no way to be them, so the best way to understand is to listen more than you talk. And we can be advocates, educators, we can be clinicians, facilitators, group leaders, program leaders. We can do anything that follows the code of ethics to support the work need and the dignity of people. So that is our roles, and that is what we do great for people. So now that I finished on my notes, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna answer the questions. That's what's assigned to us on the discussion board. Give me 1 second. Content. Okay, here we go. All right. This is number one. There's a specific, I cannot say that word. The specific barriers and social inequalities faced by populations your chapter focuses on. Please incorporate into the intersectional lens when describing how different folks with varying identities are more or less differently impacted by different barriers. Okay, so I'm gonna explain all of these questions by using examples, and I feel like the most present example right now, with everything that's going on, is the Black Lives Matter. So when using that in an intersectional lens, I just want to say, like, as a social worker, you have to understand that, like, definitely with this campaign going on, like, everybody sometimes aren't treated equally, and sometimes, you know, you have to understand one person, even people of the same color, are not treated differently. Men, women, sex, job, status, any of those factors can differ how you're treated, can differ how economy views you, different where you live can affect your mental and your cognitive status. And so I just want to make that known, that through an intersectional lens, like, people even of the same color and the same sex in the same region can be going through different things, because every person is different. And no, not one person that sits in your chair is the same. So when these people sit in your chair, you have to take the time to sit there, to listen, and to understand. And you will never truly understand. And I just want to make that clear, that nobody would truly ever understand what one is going through. You can understand the overall, you can understand the basic points, but you can never understand and really feel what that person is going through until you put your feet into their lens. So when somebody sits in your chair, you have to do what best fits their specific case. No case is the same. No case can be treated the same. No person can be treated the same. We are not numbers. We are people. We are not robots. So when focused on the barriers, there are different barriers, such as work, such as jobs, such as groups, such as what different additional resources can be what different additional researches can be given to you. All these different resources can come into play. And so when, as a social worker, you have to be ready to give those researches to, you have to be ready to give those resources to people when they sit in your chairs. You have to know, you have to do your research, you have to know what's out there that we can offer. What do people qualify for? And of course, people are going to have, each qualification is going to have different stuff that you have to meet, requirements that you have to meet to get that. But you have to know that people are different. That's just my basic saying when looking through an intersectional lens. And people can be more or less differently impacted by others. They really can. And every case just differs. So the historical and current policies, actions that have shaped inequalities faced by social perceptions in your population. There are different historical and current policies that differ for each population. For example, right now there are more rules being set in Minnesota than anywhere else right now. There's many different advocacies right now. This Black Lives Matters campaign is the first campaign that has reached every state, and it's even went international. So every day more and more are being made. I have listed and went through that in the in my notes that I've said. And different populations, depending on, like, what is your population made of? Is it majority white? Is it majority black? Is it interracial? Like, they might perceive different perceptions of people. Definitely, I know some of my family lives in the South, and they experience more racial slurs than us up here. So it really depends on your demographics as well. That can play a different part into it. Advocacy efforts lead to the promotion of both systematic and individual changes within populations highlighted in your chapter. I have said that in the chapter about the advocacy. Again, I want to emphasize that advocacy is social work. When you describe social work, you describe advocacy. Social workers' roles and careers to support the populations populated in your chapter. That was named too, but in specific to my chapter, which is about the physical changes, neurological, and developmental changes, that's like helping people in specific cases get resources and with these disabilities and these changes that might limit from other people. A good example is helping someone like who cannot walk, the person who fell off the bike. Helping the person who cannot walk, he wants to work. Helping him find a job that physically suits him and that he can still maintain his style of living and his class of living. So that is all. I answered all 4 questions. So that is all for my chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And thank you. My name is Darian Moulton.